I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to just speak to us and give the selection committee some insight into what you've been experiencing using the curriculum you've been working with. Can you first just tell us which curriculum you have been using that you're familiar with that you want to share about?
I've been using Bookworms.
Okay. Okay. So, and you teach what grade?
First.
First grade. Okay. So let me in Oakland Unified, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have some specific questions. Now we may free flow a little bit, but for the most part, I do want to get some specific things answered. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start off first with just from your perspective, could you tell us like what do you as a teacher like about it and the kids, what the kids like about it? And then on the flip side, what are some things that you as a teacher and the kids you may not like as much about it?
So the thing I like the most is just that it's routines and it's the same, from shared reading into the differentiated instruction in small group. So the routines are super easy. I hardly have to plan. I picked it up really quickly. And then I think also that's what the students like. They know what to expect every day so that then they can just focus on what's being taught. They know exactly what they're doing. It makes them feel confident. I also think that the students really like the books that we have during shared reading, the books that we read during ELA time. And also they get to see like their progress in a really real way. And it makes them excited about reading and learning to read.
You say they get to see their progress in a real way. Are you talking about, what are you talking about?
So they have different differentiated instruction small groups. And it's like within 3 weeks, they get the first round of tests. And then they get to move up a group and we just really celebrate it. And I'm like, you're moving up in a group. You're moving from using letter sounds to using letter patterns. This is your new group. And it's just very exciting for them to know that they're working on a new skill and they see that they're making progress in that way.
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned your planning. Like you don't have to, I would love to hear more about that. How much planning does it take? How much time does it take to plan an ELA lesson or for the week or whatever it is to do it right, to do it the way it's supposed to be done?
Yeah. Okay. So I took yesterday, today was the first day back from break. So I took yesterday and I planned my shared reading and my ELA lesson in probably 20, 30 minutes, maybe. I planned both of those just because. So the words for shared reading, you just have to find the book, you look through the lesson plan because it's the same every week. So you know exactly what to expect. It's just different questions in different parts of the book. And then you have different vowel patterns or letter patterns. So I search for those in my pack and the words and then have them ready. And it just doesn't really take much time at all. And once you learn the routine, you don't really have to look over the lesson plan. You just know what to teach. You get an idea of what questions you're asking, the prompts that you're given. I print mine out and keep it right in front of me. I keep it on my lap if I'm teaching in the classroom. I keep it right in front of me for distance learning. And then the ELA part is a little bit more. You just have to prep a little bit more. So for instance, I might make an anchor chart, which might take a little bit of time. Not much though. If I already had this and then I make new Post-it notes for it each week. So that takes about 5 minutes. And then the sentences, it's just very easy because it's the same every week, just a different book, different words, different vocabulary, different vowel patterns.
Okay. So you said what you like about it is the consistency of it, the routines, and the kids like that too. Are there things that you don't like about it?
The only thing that I don't like about it is that some of the books are kind of outdated. For instance, there was like a Thanksgiving book that we read that I really had to have a talk with the kids about later. But from my understanding, Bookworms, they're currently they're reviewing the curriculum and changing up some books that are outdated. So that'll be fixed, I think, next year.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. A quick question. So I'm curious about so what's the makeup of your class? So I'm trying to get a sense of who this might work for. What in what context might this be successful? Because in Oakland Unified we have all different all different, hills and flatlands and socioeconomic and race and class and all that type of stuff. Can you give me a sense of your class, like what the makeup is and where you think this might work best?
Our entire school is Black and Latino. There's almost nothing else. I think some students are mixed with white or mixed with Asian. It's like 1% other, but that's the way my class is too. Black and brown students. The whole school is, or almost entirely the whole school, I think it's like 90%, 95%, something really high, is low income. They approve or get approved for your reduced lunches. So that's also the makeup of my class. I have ELs in my class. I have students with IEPs, behavior issues. I have everything. I have it all.
And was it the same? So, but you were using it last year too, right? Did you have the same kind of makeup? So, and
Yep.
did it? So the kids from these different subgroups, the ones that you just named, does it have supports for them embedded in there, or is it like a separate thing? Like
Oh
for
no.
example,
Go ahead.
like for English language learners, is there like a separate English language learners guide or something
Yeah.
like that, or like you know what I mean? Or how do
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do they
No, I know.
provide support? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's completely embedded into the curriculum. There's just so many scaffolds and differentiation within it. So there are pictures that come with like the words that would be really good for English language learners. We use sentence frames that are good for students, EL students, or just lower academically students. We use written or there's lots of charts, as you can see. Charts are a big thing with ELs. Yeah, and it just all comes with it. It's just all embedded into the curriculum, all these scaffolds, but it's still accessible to those students that are working at a higher level, because you can prompt them to write more or say more, but then there's these lower levels to help everyone.
Mhm. And you also mentioned kids who are behind academically. So
Mhm.
if you teach first grade, I mean, behind academically means they're at a kindergarten level, like they're not as familiar with the names and sounds, or what do you have a lot of kids who started off at least
Yeah.
behind?
Yeah, so I can think of two students that come to mind specifically. One little girl has an IEP, and then another little boy is an ELL. They both started out with little to no alphabet knowledge, like they didn't know the letter names or the letter sounds, like almost none. So they were put into the lowest group for differentiated instruction, which is called basic alphabet knowledge. They just did one round of that, and they moved up to the next group. So I mean, the one round is 6 weeks. But if they don't pass that test at the end of the 6 weeks, they repeat that round. So for this little girl who has an IEP with lots of accommodations, and the little boy who is EL and mostly only Spanish is spoken at home, for both of them to just do one cycle, I feel like that really says or proves that, yeah, I don't
So
know. Somebody froze.
I don't know. It may have been me. It may have been. So you were saying that you had one girl who has an IEP and you had one boy who's like a second language learner, or ELL, doesn't speak much English at home or something like that. And then I guess you were going to say how they were doing, or what were you going to say?
Yeah, so the little girl has an IEP with a lot of accommodations, and then the little boy is ELL. They speak mostly Spanish at home. Um, Parents don't speak English. And so they came into first grade with little to no alphabet knowledge. They didn't know letter names or letter sounds. So they started at the lowest level of the differentiated instruction group, and it's called basic alphabet knowledge. That group lasts 6 weeks. They did one round of that and then passed their test with flying colors and got to move up to the next group. And I just feel like that says a lot, because they have these other challenges. Being an English language learner is a huge challenge when you're learning to read another language. And then this little girl with the IEP, she has a ton of accommodations. And for them to only have to do just one round of that group, just the 6 weeks, because if you don't pass, you do it again, right?
Right.
But for them to just have to do that one time, come in with no knowledge, and then move to the next group, even with their challenges, I just feel like that really says something about the differentiated instruction curriculum and how well it works for every student at every level.
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this. What about the opposite? So, what if? Do you have any kids who? Because okay, so it's good for kids who are behind, and and I guess kids who are in between. What about kids who are actually on grade level? Because that's a thing too. Like the kids who are not, behind a year or two or whatever it is. Like, is it okay for them, or is it more of a remediation type program?
Not at all. Not for the differentiated instruction at all. So I had two girls come in right on, maybe slightly above grade level for the beginning of the year. And they have moved up. Let's see, they have moved up 3 groups now. So now they are and actually one boy jumped a little bit. And so I have 3 in the top group that I have right now, which is slightly above grade level. And when they came in, well, the boy was slightly below, the 2 girls were like right on, and now they're all 3 above.
Right.
And that's just with the differentiated instruction small group. So it just, pushes and pushes and teaches them all of the basics that they need to know.
Is it self-contained? So you mentioned for the English language learners, it's got that stuff in there, but what about just the foundational skills block? Like the foundations of learning how to read. Is that a separate piece, or is that part of it?
It's part of it. It's all part of it. It's 3 components. So there's the shared reading, ELA, and then the differentiated instruction small group that focuses on their level, which is foundational skills.
Okay. What about your ability as you become more comfortable with this? Like, does it have room for you to do things differently, or is it all scripted? Is it like how much flexibility is there for a teacher to kind of shift or add things or do things a little bit different?
It is scripted, but I think that it would be so easy to just, take it whichever way you want. So, it gives you the books. All the books come with the curriculum. So like it has the shared reading the shared reading books come with one for every 2 students in your class because it's shared partner reading. So you'll get, if you have a class of 20, you get 10 shared reading books of each book for each week. And then for the ELA, you get teacher copies of books, and it all comes with the curriculum that the school would buy. So I'm a newer teacher, so I like that it's scripted, but if you are more of like a veteran teacher, then you could take these books and, do shared reading or maybe do individual reading or whatever you would like, ask different questions, do different activities with the books that, you would want. I like that it's all laid out for me. Yeah, you could do different, because it gives you writing activities to do with it, but you could do like anything with this book later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely room for creativity or wiggle room, or you can use it as you want.
So it does have a writing piece.
Yes.
Okay. That was one of my next questions, like writing and oral language development. Okay, so that's part of it too.
Yeah. So the English language development is embedded like in all of it. Like in ELA, this is the vocabulary that we're learning, but then there's also vocabulary we're learning with shared reading and sentence frames and everything else that develops that English language. And then with the ELA curriculum, it's books, but then it's also teaching like descriptive writing and how to write a letter, and it goes along with the books. Book reviews, how to write a sentence. Yeah, it has everything.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm curious about professional development. So to get a hold of this, to really, every curriculum has to have, you got to have some professional development to come, so to understand how it works and what have you. I'm curious, how much professional development does it take to like get a hold of something like this, to figure out how to do it and all of that?
It's so straightforward. So Sharon Walpole, who created the curriculum, she had like a webinar series last year that was free that I did on my own time. But the curriculum is just so straightforward and like written out and tells you, you know, the objective, and this is the standard that goes with it. These are activities you could do to teach that. It's just so easy. When I learned this, how to do the small group lessons, my mentor taught me in 5 to 10 minutes how to do 2 different groups. And then also there are videos online of how to do the groups. It was just so easy. I'm doing this on my own, so I didn't really take much professional development, but I feel like I really have the hang of it. I had my mentor to guide me a little, but yeah.
What about okay, so but you've been at this for like, this is your second year doing this, right?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
if you were, so let's say I'm a new teacher, like a first, because one of the things we're looking at is how people or how much success kids and teachers have with a curriculum the first year they use it. You know, because as you do anything, you're going to get better at it. So I'm curious, like how it went for you your first time using it, your first year.
So I slowly integrated it into my classroom. I started with the small group just to teach phonics, teach them how to read. And then I was like, oh my God, I love this. I want to do more. So then I incorporated the shared reading, you know, just asking my mentor, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? Can you help me do this? And maybe because I did it slowly, it was very easy. And it all ties together so well that it was easy to pick up the next piece. But I just thought it was very easy to start, and I started it in the middle of last year. So,
okay. And before that, what were you using?
Lucy Calkins.
Using Lucy Calkins. You were using Units of Studies. And if you could compare, was that your first time using Lucy Calkins, or had you used that before? Okay, so you 2 programs that you were using for the first time. Did you guys have like TSA or coaches or like?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I started Lucy Calkins the year before last and taught it half of last year. And I was a first year teacher that did Lucy Calkins. I'd never heard of Lucy Calkins because I'm from a different state. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to like go through. I stressed about it every single night being a first year teacher and trying to decipher this. It was just very hard. And I did have a TSA that would help me. She came in and taught a lesson, and I was just like, I still don't understand how my kids are supposed to do this because they can't read, but you expect them to. It just made no sense for my students. And then I had to come up with ways to differentiate the instruction for my students, but I was a first year teacher. So it was a really hard year. Yeah, this is just literally the opposite. There's nothing to decipher. It tells you exactly what to do, how to do it, and you can change it if you want to and make it your own.
So okay, so this video that I'm making a series of these videos. I'm going to provide them to the curriculum selection committee for Oakland's K through 5 English language arts adoption. They've been working on it for a while. They're looking at what else they should be piloting or whatever else. And so I'm giving them firsthand accounts so that they can hear and see from real folks about what's going on in classrooms with these different curriculum. So if you had a message for them, or what would you tell the curriculum selection committee? What do you think they should know as they start deliberating about this curriculum that you're?
From my personal experience, I feel like this was when my mentor got brought into my life and gave me this curriculum and taught me this. I feel like it was a godsend because I felt like I wasn't teaching any like before. Now I feel like my kids are learning to read, and they're reading, some of them at a higher level, so a lot of them on grade level, and it really felt like it was an angel brought this to me, and that my kids are actually learning, and it's exciting for me. And every time I see them progress and move groups, I get like chills. I get so excited because that just wasn't happening before. So I believe in this curriculum wholeheartedly. It actually teaches kids to read, and it's easy for teachers.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to, first of all, so thank you. I appreciate you taking the
Thanks.
time. I know you're busy, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity and a platform to speak up and speak out and be heard. So
Thank you.
thank you. Much appreciated. And best of luck with your class. It seems to be going well. Hopefully we can get in there and visit. Although now with Zoom, maybe it's like a click away.
Yeah.
Are you open to having people, like if the committee or others wanted to see stuff happening, could they zoom in and see it?
I am absolutely okay with that. I would have to check with my principal about
Okay.
the rules and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it would be completely fine.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check in with them and the networks you can all have a go. Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks for
Take
having me.
care.
Thank you.